Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
UK does good. I mean, I've had Jamie over in the UK on, have some guys in Australia on. I'd like to get, more viewership over there. The UK, it's like Canada, UK, and then Australia in that order, behind the US. I mean, the US.
Australia used to be so hot when I first jumped on in 2019, and they had Josh, painting by Josh, a bunch of other guys, and they just got quiet. So not much with those guys.
It's interesting. I was talking to a furniture refinisher who I had on up there, and he was telling me that it's a weird market in Australia, and they don't respond well. Like, I'm trying to word how to say. He said he loves the US because they're like, oh man, you're growing your business. That's good. That's awesome. Keep going. And like, you tell someone in Australia you're growing your business and they just call you a prick and a show off. He's like, they just don't do that over there. So, there's no talking about business, talking about success and how we can make more success. That doesn't exist over there.
Most of the three Commonwealths that we know, Canada, Australia, UK, and Ireland. I mean, you look at Ireland. I have my products selling pretty well over there. And all you have is the Peaky Painter, Liam, and you have Sean Nolan, and maybe one other guy in the whole country. And they get on there until you break free. They're like sending you a message, Mike. You just stop showing off, mate. Stop showing off. Stop showing. And the guy that you need to talk to that you'll really like. Do you know Russell Payne, the talking tradesman?
I know of him. I have not met him. I would love an intro to him.
You got it. I'll introduce you. So 600 UK painters killed themselves last year. There's such a stigma to it. I've been over there. I've been in the actual shops, and I'll say to a guy that's got a gallon of paint on the counter, I say, "Hey, you a painter?" No. If he's not a painter, there's this real, they call it, they said, you can piss, you can paint. So he's trying to save their lives, and he's doing like you did. He's got a studio now, and he's getting.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Jamie's doing a lot over, he's got the school over there in the UK. He was awesome to have on. He's turning painters into sprayers, because it's just unheard of over there. No one picks up a spray gun over there.
Nobody picks up. And then he's got the other guy that does it is the paint tech guy, Ian.
Ian, yes. I've heard of Ian. Yep.
He's
and then there's
following as well.
I want to get Insta Sprayer guy on. I can't remember his name.
Insta Sprayer?
Yeah.
Where's he out of?
He's out of the UK, England area, I believe. Dude, his following, if you're not following him on Instagram, Insta Sprayer's his social. And the guy is like all about spraying cabinets. But I mean, I've never met someone so OCD about cabinet finishing as him.
I love it.
I mean, caulking and razor blades. I mean, his prep. When I was in the business, I learned so much from watching his prep videos that I took to my guys on the proper prep to get that high end finish. It's insane. I mean, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's him.
You've had him on?
No, I want to get him on. He's over there. I've hit him up a couple times, and he's just like, "Oh man, I'm too busy." Things like that. I mean, it's like it took forever to get. Anthony on. Like he was forever to get on. I mean, and then when he got on, he's like, "But I'm ready for another one. I want to do another one." He's like, "This is fun."
He wanted me to make a cleaner for him at one point, and I just said I signed a deal with a distributor over there. I can't do that. So yeah, he's a good dude. So I've been in the UK now 4 times in 3 years, and I was there for a full month. I was there that's my biggest market right now. It's in 400 stores. They have a phenomenal, so a company called Access Decor picked it up.
Is it on the stores that it's in over there? Is it like Ben Moore stores? I know they're trying to get real big into the UK, or is it independents?
There's no Ben Moore stores in the UK right now. There's no Sherwin's. There's Brewers. There's Crown. There's Deluxe. I'm learning the players. And so Deluxe picked it up. They have 200 stores. Brewers picked it up. They have 200 stores. So I'm in 400 stores with just those two guys.
That's
I'm in
amazing.
more stores there than I am in the US. I'm around the same in the US, but they have a great sales force, and it's an easier country to grab. Like a Rockstar goes over there first, like Hendrix went over there first, and you come back the other way.
Interesting, because aren't you in Spectrum now?
I'm in some of the Spectrums, yeah, not in all of them. I'm trying to do a deal with them right now. So yeah, no, 2023, I was living in Long Island with Dane, and I had a distributor that just sold, they're called My Paintbrush, and they just sold it online. And I said, I got to get it in the stores over there because a lot of guys loved it. So I went over there, flew over there. Dane came with me, and they said, don't get caught giving those samples out. So I had a backpack full of samples. And
this is here in the U.S., right?
It's UK.
In the UK. Okay.
We're at one of the shows. I won't tell you what the name of the show, but we gave them out. And the last day I was there, right before we missed Thanksgiving, so I missed the last two Thanksgivings because I've been over there for the paint extra. But I was leaving. This guy said, "Hey, we want to talk about distributing Pretty Boy." And so we made a deal in the beginning of 2024 last year. So it's been almost a year and a half that we've been working together. And they're working on their they ordered a couple pallets each time. And it's just
that's freaking phenomenal.
So I'll be there in 2 weeks.
So we'll just kind of kick it off here. I mean, everybody knows Brian with Pretty Boy Products. If you don't, you've been living under a rock. This man is killing it on social media. You're from Buffalo, born and raised New Yorker.
No, my dad's in New York. I'm from Virginia Beach. I'm a Navy
okay.
guy.
You're from Virginia Beach.
And I left in '83 after my mother passed. I went to college down in Raleigh. I got my degree at NC State in business. And
so you're down there with Stephanie and Scott.
Oh, I never knew him at those points. This is 20 years.
Yeah. Never knew him, but yeah, you're from down in that area with the Hartley Group and
Hartley Group. Yeah, they're in Charlotte. I was in Raleigh at the time, but so that's where I'm from. I'm from Virginia Beach, and I've been on the road. I am a third generation son of a military sailor. My grandfather was the Navy, and my dad was Navy, and so that I have the wanderlust. So I have no home. I have no wife. I have no kid.
I mean, I'm kind of halfway there. See, I got a wife and kids, but we live full time in a 45-foot Class A motorhome.
Oh, nice.
So, we live full time in Texas during the school year because our kids are in school because do not have the patience to homeschool. But so we travel during the summers, breaks, and go to the Carolinas. We go to Oklahoma, go to Colorado. So, we love being free and not having a house and just being able to take our house wherever we go. People are just flabbergasted when they're like, how do you live in a bus with a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old? And I'm like, it's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. I mean, they live outside 90% of the time. I mean, my 7-year-old, my son, it's like when we grew up, I just say, hey, when the street lights come on, you need to be headed towards the house. Other than that, I'll see you when I see you. And he's fine. I mean, he never had an issue. I mean, he falls down, comes home, he'll run in the house, Dad, can I have a peanut butter sandwich? And then he's gone again.
That's how we did it. My dad.
I remember growing up, the only way your parents knew where you were is they would drive the neighborhood and see which driveway all the bicycles were laying down in to see, if you were in the backyard playing flag football or inside playing, Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter.
I was in the era where literally we would come home from the bus. I would grab my ball bat, baseball cap, and we would head out to school, and the biggest kid would throw the bat, and you would do remember the bat thing?
Yeah.
And the two biggest kids were captains. They were like I was like fifth grade, fourth grade doing this and we would pick teams. It'd be closed right field and have a full on baseball game.
Yeah. I mean, we were all football, Oklahoma. It was just playing football, drinking water out of the hose. And I mean, I kind of feel like that way with my kids now. I'm like, hey, I feel like I grew up pretty good. So you guys can have the same way. Just go. We talk to people that come over or something. They'll be like, where's your son? I don't know. He'll be around here soon, but he's only 7. I'm like, he's fine.
Yeah, that mollycoddling is not good for anybody.
No, it's not. It's not good at all. So, pretty boy. So Virginia.
Yeah, no. So I grew up in Virginia Beach. Then I basically went to Raleigh just to get away from Virginia Beach. I was getting in trouble. After my mother passed away, my dad got remarried and took off. So I was on my own at 16, 17. And so I went to Raleigh, started washing dishes and cooking, and realized I wanted an education. So got an education, NC State, graduated in 90. And then I went out to California for a while. First time I went out there, didn't like it. Then I went to Atlanta for a while before the Olympics. And I invented my first product with my brothers called Carboom. So Pretty Boy is my second brand.
Okay.
Carboom was in the 90s with my two of my brothers. I come from a big family. And we just couldn't get it off the ground the way we wanted to. And so it was a great learning experience. But Pretty Boy is all mine. So
there you go.
Yeah, Pretty Boy came about in short order. I went back to the food business to make a living. I was stuck. I was on the Mississippi boats going up and down the Mississippi River. I was on the world's largest paddle wheel called the American Queen. 9/11 came, changed everything for us. They decided the company was in financial problems at the time, so they decided to see if they get some money from the government. So they parked the boats, and a buddy of mine asked me to paint his house in the spring of 2002, and I fell in love with it. I had painted a little bit, but never a full house. And immediately I went in there and I said, looking for this. And I said, do you have a cleaner for the water basin? The guy said, no, just use dish soap. I said, okay. So I started using dish soap, and I knew right away it wasn't the right product. And I'm like, why am I the only one to see this? Nobody, because like when you invent something, like when I invented that energy gel, instantly there was 8 other guys on the market.
Yeah.
But nobody, so I realized why, because I had to invent the market. I had to give it to you, and then you have to see what you didn't have it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that in the painting and coatings world. It's a lot like that. You have to invent the market to be able to create the products. I mean, for some reason, I mean, when I got into this business, my father-in-law mentored me in lawn mowing business, home theater business, and, long story how I got into it, but not crazy. But my father-in-law has been doing it for like 30 years, and I bought him out of his business and kind of took it over, and he mentored me a lot. And it happens a lot with one of my awesome sponsor just came on board, My Paint Buckets. He does integrating software into this world, but it's just amazing how much this industry, I mean, for lack of a better term, lives in the 60s.
Yeah.
We just
it's not the 20s.
Yeah, in the 20s. Like nobody wants to
change.
There's no investment in technology, and it's getting better. I would say the last 5 to 7 years have been huge in our industry.
Everybody's looking at Tanner Mullen and saying, I want that software. And
you got Tanner's got a great software. Chris Riker, he's got a great new construction software with My Paint Buckets. He kind of takes that project management role into, fully developed. So because I remember getting into my father-in-law's truck and dashboard, and just like, I don't know, at least 20 yellow legal pads on the dashboard. And you're like, what's all that? And he's like, that's all my estimates. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
But there's still guys out there. That's how they do their estimates, is a yellow legal pad. And it's like, man, we've got to change that. How you manage projects. How do you know how much paint you ordered? You just order it. I'm like, how do you know you're making money? Whatever's left.
Yeah, whatever's left. Yeah. I knew that because I I was selling real estate in Manhattan. I painted for Philly for 3 years. And then when I turned 40, I moved to Manhattan. And the idiots from Philly were like, no, you can't paint. They'll kill you. I'm like, they'll kill me? Why would they kill me? Said, oh, the union guys will kill you.
You're not in the union.
And I'm like, yeah, if I'm painting a building by myself, but an apartment, nobody cares. So anyway, after a while, I started painting again in Manhattan. And I knew that I loved it, but I knew that maybe I had a 10-year window. And so that's when I invented Pretty Boy.
And that was what? So what year was when you were back in Manhattan? What year was that?
Basically, long story short, my journey was I turned 40 and I moved there in 2005. And I had an absolute blast. I was a party animal. And then around 2014, I said, I need to take a break from the booze. So I hopped off of it. And I said, I need to get in shape. So I started doing yoga and meditation. And I had this incredible spiritual run. And I ended up going to India and Nepal. And I was there for a while. And
what year was this?
2016. So
16,
two and a half years after I got sober, I went to Nepal and India. And in Nepal, I was looking at Mount Everest. And I was like, oh, I should go back to the States, because they were all diving off into a spiritual world. They were going in. If you see that movie, Eat, Pray, Love, Pray is India. So everybody was going off into a spiritual path. And I had done it long enough. I was already 2.5 years of my journey. I'd already started doing yoga every day. And I was a meditation instructor. And so I was like, I want to go back to America. And that's 2016. So right before the election of 2016, I landed in Manhattan and started calling for a chemist, looking for a paint chemist.
A paint chemist.
And
yeah.
So it took me until basically January 2017. I found this English guy named Terry living in Atlanta. And he said, I'm $250 an hour. We'll work on it. So he would give me about this much. And he would every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he would give me this much. And it took me, so the first 9 formulas were working on the surfactants. Mm-hmm. Pretty Boy has got, so your dish soap has 4 to 6% soap. This has 25%. It's formulated to re-wet. So re-wetting formula. So after the 9th formula, the brush opened up like crazy, like this. And he said, okay, the latex is off, the paint's off of it. Now let's have the conditioner bring it back together. So we took 2 or 3 conditioners. It also has a dispersant, which makes, when you're cleaning, the dirt stays in the bucket, those goes back to the wall. Like your laundry detergent has a dispersant. So that's basically what 18 formulas later, it was the spring, of 2018. And then now we look for a factory. And I made the original 1,000 bottles, and nobody wanted it.
You didn't have the market yet.
Instagram, I started giving it away to Johnny Dater and Sam from The Right Painter. And hey, what do you think of this stuff? And it's been a brutal run. And now slowly, like you said, I'm in 4 countries. It's starting to go. People are really into it. I make a video or 2 a day. I've got over 5,000 videos.
That's awesome. I mean, it's an amazing thing that once you start, it's like if you follow, I mean, all the motivational guys out there, don't stop, keep going, don't stop, keep going. And at a certain point, some people are like, these people are just full of shit, but they're not. Like, if you just keep going, you will start to see, if you have that drive, like there's no other option. This has got to be it. If you have that mindset, like it will happen. You just have to, like I was watching a guy and he was like, what if I told you you had to get through 995,000 no's? And I guarantee you there's a yes at 995,001. He's like, you'd be getting through as fast as you physically can. Let's just get them out of the way. He's like, if you just have that mindset, it'll just kick off. Once you get that yes, it's just like a freaking domino. It's weird. And it's like the confidence in you goes up, but it's like once you get that yes, you're like, oh F yeah, I got this. And then the more start coming in. It's crazy.
Do you want your brand in front of the people who actually move product? Painters, finishers, and manufacturers? The Bearded Finisher podcast has pulled in over 75,000 downloads and reaches across the entire finishing supply chain, from job site to manufacturing. From single episode sponsorships to social media promotion, we offer flexible options that get your brand noticed. Real reach, real results. Visit thebeardedfinisher.com and let's get your brand front and center. Are you a residential painter buried in admin, scheduling chaos, or constant material delays? Meet mypaintbuckets.com, the first dedicated project management platform built by painters for painters. It delivers turnkey workflows to simplify your day, from project sharing and material ordering to scheduling and EPO capture, so you can focus on scaling your crew and maintaining the reputation you've worked so hard to build. And if you're a supplier, painters are evolving faster, smarter, and more efficient than ever. The suppliers who thrive over the next 10 years will be the ones who build real trust. That's why we created free tools to help you keep up and stay relevant. Head to mypaintbuckets.com and see why the next generation of painters isn't looking back.
Yeah, we're not taught how to be successful. We're taught in a lot of Western world, we're taught how to become a worker. We're not taught how to become our own boss. And for me, it was David Goggins, because I had a product. I kind of knew what to do, but I had to find that gear. I had to find that gear we're talking about. How do you paint all day, come home, eat dinner, and then for the first 5 years, I had the bags and I'd have a piece of cardboard, and I made signs called "We'll Paint for Beer," and I'd spray paint them, and I'd put them in 2 bottles or 4 bottles, and I'd put 2 wire brushes in there and stickers, handwritten notes. I was into it, and I established maybe 500 clients, and then I realized the sales started coming down, and I was like, well, I got to get in the stores. I got to get to a retailer, and I got to get distribution. And I got lucky. The guy here with Meldrum's, he owns a bunch of paint stores up here. He's well connected, and he introduced me to Lancaster.
Oh, yeah, so Lancaster.
I went down there in South Carolina when I was living in Charlotte after I moved out of Manhattan. And the guy looks at me and goes, I don't know, but Shoreline, the sanding company, had just went belly up. And and he goes, there's a free booth sitting there. The timing was perfect. So I went in there, and there was paint store guys every day coming by, and I probably sold 500 bottles, not crazy amount. And they said, okay, we'll bring you on. So now when some guy from Illinois says, where do I get it? I said, well, you can walk into your local Sherwin and ask them to get you a case, or you can ask your Benjamin Moore to carry it.
Yep. Almost every Benjamin Moore pulls from Lancaster. So, I mean, everybody pulls from Lancaster. If you're not pulling from Lancaster, you're pulling from All Pro. That's pretty much it in the paint world. I mean, there's a couple other guys out there, but let's be serious.
The big dogs.
Yeah, it's Lancaster and All Pro. You got those two, and then you're golden.
Yeah, that's it. And so, but what I've been really focusing on is the painter. And instead of sitting there, going in there, trying to throw bottles on the shelf, I started the Pretty Boy Paint Festival, which the nascent idea was, do you know the Protol guys, the dad and son Protol?
Yeah.
Douglas. Douglas is sick right now, so we're praying for him. He's sick. Hope you're okay, Douglas. But they did a go-kart race with a couple guys, and they got together in New Jersey, and I went, aha, that looks cool, bringing painters together.
Yeah.
So now we've evolved it into the Pretty Boy Paint Festival, and this will be the 6th year. And if you've never been, it's just magical bringing painters together, and we compete now. We have a brush and roll competition, and we have a spray competition.
Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen you guys posting the competitions online and stuff. That looks like a lot of fun. I mean, there's something to be said. When I spent, a short amount of time, I spent like 2 years in manufacturing. So I used to run CIC, Centurion Wood Coatings. And that was kind of like the model there was the paint stores are great, but in order to get the paint stores, you got to get the painters. Because if you get the painters going into the paint store and being like, hey, where do you buy your paint from? If the painter wants it, you sell it to them first. And then we would say, where do you buy your paint? Well, I buy it from this Benjamin Moore guy, but he doesn't carry it. Well, what's his number? Well, I'll call him. If you're going to buy it, let me get him and you buy it from him instead of from me. I would rather support another small business. And man, it just starts kicking off like that. And you start adding those distributors. But yeah, the painter is, to me, from being a painter, it's the easiest way to get the products in our industry out there.
Yeah. And then now it's a point where I haven't painted professionally with my own company. I have my own company since I left Manhattan. My apartment got me sick. I had mold. I had a basement apartment. So 2022, I was really sick. It took me about a year to recover. I didn't know how sick I was. I got COVID on top of it, so I really had compromised lungs. And when I went to Charlotte in the December 2022, I've been on the road ever since, but I had a headache for 3 months as that stuff worked itself out. But
so when you say on the road, you're just jumping hotel to hotel, or are you in a motorhome? What are you doing?
So it's a little bit of everything. Yeah, the first year was a lot of hotel to hotel, right? And that was expensive. That was kind of diving into the great unknown. And I'd gotten some deals with some hotels, Hilton Honors and stuff. And then all of a sudden, because of I did if you can watch my YouTube channel, it's called Pretty Boy Pros. And it was a backline story of, I only did 14 episodes. Well, those initial guys became my friends. And like one of them would say, hey man, I have an extra room. So I lived with Dane for a while in Long Island. He had an extra room he rented me. I did Airbnbs in between. You can get an Airbnb for about $1,600 a month. So you live there. And then Florida, I knew a guy named John, and I stayed with him for 3 months, Airbnb in another part of Florida. Now here I am with Matt, MF Paints, staying with him in Albany. I'll be here this summer. So a combination of Airbnbs and painters. So I'm heading out to Seattle in the middle. I'll be there from August 15th to September 15th. Going to try to get on with Painters Alley and Mallory's.
Yeah, Jim and Matt, those guys are awesome.
I'm looking forward to meeting them. I think they're going to be at the AWFS show this year.
Yeah, they'll probably. I mean, Jim usually goes. Sarah with Painters Out or with Mallory is freaking awesome. I did 1 year before I left. The last year before I left CIC, we were selling Mallory, and we went to they do an annual meeting in Vegas. They bring all their managers in and do almost like a little mini all pro show. You get set up and they do like a roundtable discussion. Every manufacturer has a roundtable, and everyone just all the store managers and salesmen, they go from table to table. I mean, killer concept. Love the concept that they do. It works really well. And then at night you hang out, but had a lot of fun at that. I mean, that group up there, and I've been up to Seattle a couple times visiting customers with them. Man, they are a lot of fun up there. And then Matt with Painters Alley, it's just Matt. I love Matt.
Yeah. Matt's shown some interest in the product. Sarah's shown some interest in the product. So they're both interested. So give them a call for me.
Yeah, I'll tell them. You tell them. Say, call Zach.
I'll be there. So I don't have a wife or kid. Like I said, I show up. The social media is powerful. So
isn't it crazy?
I have about 20,000 followers between
That's amazing.
Facebook and that. And it's not a huge amount, but it's enough where, people see you coming.
I tell people that, like, 20,000, like, that's a shit ton of people, Brian. Like, think about if you were in an arena and 20,000 people wanted to hear what you had to say.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean, that's a killer follow. That's amazing, man. That's awesome. Especially in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, I laugh because I look at the paint warrior, Kevin Tingley, and he's the paint warrior in England. The great story of this guy, but he did his first video, and he just had the magic that you can't make. And he said he went to the shower and he had 33,000 views. The first video ever did, you and I had 2 views. He had 33,000 views. Now he has like 600,000 or 700,000 followers, and he's got his own little brush line. So I always compare myself to something like that. I'm like, and I went to his wedding. It was just amazing. He's like a rock star in England. So he comes over to the States and nobody knows him. So
isn't that just nuts?
Or at least not yet. So, but anyway, he's got his own line of brushes. But that's the power. I don't have any partners with this. It's just me. I've been very much enjoying the journey, and every year I seem to double the business. I just got into Canada.
Canada is a fun market. The guys up there, the painters up there, are about as loyal as you get. I mean, I love that market. That market is amazing. Those guys are dedicated. I still got guys when I had my painting company, and I started using, one of the first guys started using Solvent 2Ks. Got a couple guys in Canada moved over to it. And I mean, there's some of my best friends today. I still talk to them like every week. Never met them in person.
Where are they at? Where are they based out of?
Vancouver? I think they're west.
Vancouver, yeah, sure.
Yeah, over in the Vancouver area. I mean, and you've got Jim at Jeco Finishing, awesome guy. I mean, he's up north, the central north area. I don't really remember. I can't where.
Yeah, that area that has Saskatchewan and
yeah.
Alberta, they have provinces.
They're up in that area. It's a lot of fun. So having the product manufactured, you got the formula, 19 formulas, then you found your manufacturer. Are you manufacturing it up in New York, or do you have someplace else?
No, so I have a company make the liquid for me in Calhoun, Georgia. So if not, you would have to buy the actual 55-gallon drums every time you mix it, right? So I found a company that decided non-disclosure that makes my formula, and they put it in these big totes.
255-gallon totes.
No, 275-gallon
275 totes.
And they move it over to Atlanta, and it's bottled in Atlanta. And because I'm on the road, and I used to sell it out of my own apartment, I used to have them ship it to New York City. And I sat there for 5 years, and like I said, I would paint all day and ship all night. It's not like a rock and roll star. Paint all day, ship all night. But that kind of stuff. I made this new trek, and I got into a distributor, and so now this company, the young man took it over as my account, and they hold the product for me. They'll ship a case, they'll ship a pallet, whatever quantity I want.
So they do the filling, and they're like a 3PL. They'll take care. They store it for you. They'll ship it for you. That is awesome. That is the way to go. I mean, yeah. I tell people this. I mean, the thing that you're doing that I love, and I preach this to my coaching clients and people that I consult for, is one of my favorite books. It's called Who Not How.
Who Not How. Okay.
Who Not How. And it is just an amazing book about this guy in Canada, and a doctor, psychologist, wrote it in partnership with it's like a consultant, but this guy, Benjamin Hardy, is the author. But in this book, he uses these principles of, you don't have to figure out how to do everything. Find a who. Let people do what they do. Like, if you find the right who, they've got that figured out. Let them do it. Give them the goal and the vision, and leave them the flip alone and let them do their thing. And you're going to end up being a who for someone else. And it's just like this vicious circle of, you don't have to do everything. Like, something about entrepreneurs, we think that we have to do 100% of it. When you burn out, do what you love and get people to do what they love. there's people that love shipping, as weird as that is. And that's fine.
Shipping. They love shipping. And we found a woman named Kara. She does all the website stuff now, all the point of sale stuff, all this stuff, all the logo stuff. And then I hired a bookkeeper now. I got a bookkeeper. And he does all my books. I have my accountant. So now eventually I'll have to, and the guy that does the bookkeeping does other stuff. So eventually he can become somewhat of an operations guy. So I run this whole thing by myself. I don't have any employees. I keep it very lean because my big thing is I want my vision. When I got sober, I had to find peace within, and I found to love myself for the first time in my life. Grew up military kid, always tough dad, all that stuff, and there wasn't self-love, and so that's what the brand is. Pretty Boy is about love. It's about helping others. It's about bringing people together. And these festivals, this year I'm doing 2. I did one with Surf Prep and Apollo and the Surf Prep Factory. It's amazing where that's going to go. That could turn. And next year, the UK guys want to do one. So next year could be 4 of them. And they're a lot of work, but they're magical. And they make money. I mean, they make, I don't charge a lot, but you ask your sponsors for a couple grand. I try to keep the ticket to $35. So that gets you in for everything, drinks and food and swag. And so I like to charge something because people need to pay something or they don't take it seriously. And so that's what the brand is. And I'm making it up as I'm going along. And my big thing now is I'm trying to get into Netherlands. So there's some initial interest. So
that would be a fun market.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So there's a guy named Dirk. Hey, Dirk. Dirk goes by Goose Painting. He's Dutch. He lives in Minnesota.
Yep, I know him.
And yeah, Dirk's great. And so he's introduced me to Smiths.
He was actually on. Dirk has been on the show. Yeah.
Dirk's great.
I need to go back and look. We made a deal at the end of our podcast on getting somebody on, and I can't remember who it was. Shit, I better get to work.
Well, don't worry, he'll remind you. He's Dutch.
I'm like, crap, I better get to work. I'm going to lose that one.
They don't suffer fools lightly. So I sent a bunch of samples over there. I have these little packet samples. And so we'll see what goes on. If I can open up Netherlands, it'll open up Europe. And that's what I want. I want my life to be about, I want to spend 2 months in France and 2 months in Colorado and 3 months in Tampa and still do this and still do this. So I found my thing. And that's the big thing is finding your path and finding your why or why.
Your why is huge. I mean, I was about to say, that's another big question is the why, like the why and the what, like, what do you want?
You gotta get out of your headspace. I love what Jeff Bezos says. He says, you can have a job, you can have a career, but the best is to have a calling. And Pretty Boy is my calling because it's not about money. There's only so much money you need. It's about, I would love to, when this thing hits the next level and when there actually is money there, it would be nice to give back, whether that be in a scholarship form, whether that would be in a trade school form, or whatever you can do to bring people together and teach them this beautiful craft. Because I never learned how to paint professionally. I had to go to stores and learn from older painters, and then God bless Chris Berry. He put those videos out, which helped a lot of people.
I mean, Chris has done exceptionally well. I mean,
exactly.
He found the niche of helping the right painter, and I know a lot of people give him crap. I mean, Chris is a great guy. I've met him a couple of times. I've worked with him. I mean, he does catch a whole lot of flack from people, but it's like,
but he got a lot of flack because they didn't think of it, they didn't do it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of jealousy there. But I ride horses, and I do like performance horse training, and my son does, and the trainer that we have he's an older guy, just doesn't give a shit, and he's like, if you're not going to help, sit down and shut the F up.
see the horse whisperer? But
but he's just like, he's just very straightforward. I'm like, and all these people, they're out griping. Like, I don't know. I just saw a comment about one of my YouTube videos where we're talking about fast prototyping. And he's like, oh, yeah, make your customers fix everything for you. And it's just like, was it necessary to write that comment? Did it make, like, it doesn't help anyone. Like, I'm kind of like in that mood. I'm kind of gotten to that world where I'm like, if you're not going to be helpful and lead this industry into the next era that it's going into, then just sit down and shut up.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff is settled down. I can remember the early days when Splash was on there and a lot of stuff from Sam Chandler with the right painter and Johnny.
I would love to get the right painter on.
Sam loves to go at people. So he would go into these chat rooms and just not take anything. And he's a professional painter. He knows what he's doing. And he's like, what are you talking about? That's bullshit. You can't be nice. Then don't, why do you have to be a jerk about this? And that's true. So what's cool is that I go on these job sites and I was working with Dane for 8 months. I learned a ton. He's a professional painter. He's been doing it 30 years. I've been working with Matt. His dad and him are here, and they built this thing here. Unbelievable. So you're never too old to learn. And when I need extra money, because it's an expensive world, I can always jump on, put my brunt boots on, and put my Pretty Boy T-shirt on, and I can swing a brush, man. I can swing a roller. Not great with a sprayer yet.
Isn't it amazing in this? One thing I really like, and I've said this many times on many of my podcasts. Sorry if you guys are getting old of hearing it, but I don't care. It's my show. How incredible, and I don't want to say this industry, like the world of the painting industry, is just, it's a tight-knit group, but they'll let anybody in as long as you want to learn. And once you're in, it's like the mafia. You can't get out. Like, I don't care what you do. Like, I've tried to get out of the business a couple times. You can't do it.
Always around it. Well, the thing is, what I've learned now that I've been on the road for 2.5 years, I've worked with dozens of painters, is we're all the same guy or the same girl. The women are a little different. I'm bringing in some women this time, but for men, we're absolute rebels. We're super sensitive. We're ADHD. We're vengeful if you piss us off. We'll give you everything. We'll work for free. We do the crazy. So when you get all these guys together and girls, and I've seen it because I've done it now. I've had 100 painters in one place underneath my banner, and it's just a love fest. People just really, they just love that what they're going through.
I think that is a huge part. Like they understand. They know that they're talking to someone who's been through what they've been through. And it's nice to be able to, my goal, and I've said this many times with the podcast, is ultimately to create a space where I have a studio. And if there's other painters that want to come shoot a podcast, doesn't have me in it. Like, I have a studio available for them to come shoot a podcast, or I have a painting hub. I have a conference room where painters can hold meetings, manufacturers can do study groups and invite people in. And we have a training facility. Like, it's my vision to build, the Bearded Finisher podcast into like a network hub to just keep growing, similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
But more, just making everything better. There's no reason not to. Yeah.
Give it back.
Giving it back and giving the knowledge back to everyone that's out there. There's just so much knowledge out there, and these younger guys that are coming in, and I get it. There's a lot of younger guys coming into the industry now that are kind of taking it in a different direction as far as, not so much learning the craft, but just making money at the craft.
Which is good.
Which is good. We want that. We want those guys to truly, kind of do both. Like, I want you to be able to go in and make money at the craft and grow it to a, 7-figure business. That's freaking awesome. But appreciate all the guys that came before you that built what's there to be able to allow you to do it. Like pick up a brush every now and then. It's okay.
Yeah. That I was never a 7-figure painter. I was a guy that could only handle 2 guys at the most. And we did our job. And so the pretty boy has that ability to go next level. I didn't as a painter. I liked it, but I remember first time I did 2 jobs at one time, and just like watching the money go out the window. So and I wasn't a sub guy. I mean, if I walk into a client and say, I'm going to paint the place, because I did real estate, and that's how I got to painting again, because I knew 100 realtors in Manhattan. So they all used me. And I wanted to make sure, because first time you get paint all over the brand new hardwood floors, it's over, game over. And they'll never use you again, or you show up later. So
if you show up at all, yeah. I mean, I tell painters all the time, it's a gamble. Like guys that call me that, how do I grow? How do I grow? I'm like, in my opinion, because everything I did was W-2. I had 12 guys, but I think the best was like 6, 7. At 12, I felt like I was just running a 3-ring circus, and I could never get my head above water. And I would take anything I had to take just to keep my guys busy.
Exactly.
And if I had 6 guys, I had 2,000 hours per guy to sell a year. And I was taking the premium, charging a premium for that, and taking the best jobs I could. Because you could almost pick at that point. You could still run it 2 or 3 job sites, depending on your crew size. But like I tell guys all the time, I'm like, to me, I think you got to stay under 8 and it's manageable, or you got to have like 30.
And you got to have a foreman in each crew.
Yeah. I mean, like if you got 30, like you got to have people running around all over the place. Like I had mine set up to where all I run is 2-man crews, and I'm an only 2-man crew guy. I think it's the most efficient way. You got a leader and you got a helper. You know if someone's not working, you know if someone's hiding. You can judge progress at the end of the day. They hold each other accountable, and you're good.
So
you can check on the jobs, and they run them. You get more than that, it gets a little tricky. I mean, you could do like a crew inside and a crew outside if you're doing a big house, but I was a 2-man crew guy. I had 3 2-man crews, and then I had my shop. And I think that was the best when I sold it in Oklahoma before I moved to Texas. That was kind of got up really big. It was just too much, man. I mean,
you burn out. Yeah, you burn out.
You burn out quick.
I did it off and on 22 years. You burn out. I did it really from like 2002 to like 2022, and I still I did some work last week with Matt, and so. I love to do it, but not full time anymore. I can't do it. But I mean, look, it fed me. It was great. It was healing too, because I remember, that's another thing that we love is that it's truly a meditation. The sound of the roller, the sound of the brush.
Well, and you get to see something accomplished. You start a project and you see it to the finish. You see the before and you see the after. You as a painter, and I think a lot of guys like really live off that, is you get to see the customer's face and you're making things better, assuming you're good, which most of them are. But yeah, I mean, you're making things better. And by doing that, you're making other people's lives and making their attitudes better, which rubs off on you. It has to. I mean, I just I put some Venetian plaster in our bus in our bathroom and painted the bedroom walls green because my wife wanted it, and, did a little refresh on our motorhome, made it a little more personable, and just the look on her face when she comes in and sees it all done, of just that pure joy and awesomeness. And like, I can't believe you know how to do that. I mean, it's like a drug of its own.
Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. And it was funny because my main money was Manhattan. And it was a turn and burn kind of thing. You got to have it done by Friday. So, but when I painted in Philly, it was going to the store with the clients, you picking out the paint. And I had a very wealthy client towards the end of my time, and she demanded I have coffee with her for 15 minutes. And I walked in, And then we had to have lunch together, and she would give me my cash and whatever money at the end of the day. And so that was, and I was that person. It was more. And when I meet painters that are trying to get out the door, that's the advice I give them. I have some painters that I know that they want to leave by noon, they leave their guys. And I just say, well, people hire you for the show. They want to see you. It's better that you cut it a day short and stay for 4 days, because clients,
they want it. I mean, I had one of my crew, one of my foremen, the guy that actually bought my business, when I sold out, his name was Edgar. It was a great foreman. I mean, and I remember, I don't know how many job sites we had return clients that always have us do their work. There was one in particular. I'd go in doing my morning rounds. I do morning rounds and afternoon rounds of all my job sites. Just stop in and check on him. Every morning he was at this lady's house. I'd walk in and they'd be sitting down at the table, Edgar and his helper. They'd be sitting down at the kitchen table, and she'd be giving them coffee and some sort of baked good that she made or bought or something. Everything we did for her was time and material. But, and I'd be like, guys, and she'd be like, Zach, we're having coffee. Go on your day. We're good. She didn't care. I mean, it was I think she wanted stuff done just so the guys would come over, and she always wanted this crew just to talk to her. And I mean, and that's okay. I mean, that's part of the business.
It's part of who we are as painters. And we're not selling a high budget thing. We're selling a medium budget thing. It's not like they're ordering countertops and new cabinets. It's most of our jobs most painters that get started, the jobs are between $500 and $3,000. It's not like crazy amount of money. And so the one thing that you realize is people will make work up for you because they're lonely. I've had people follow me around houses. You're on the ladder, and then they're sitting there with their bathrobe and coffee. They meet you the second you're there, and then they're there and they're watching you, and oh my God. And if it's sometimes it's really exhausting.
It can be exhausting. I would agree.
Really exhausting where, I had a funny story in Philly. I painted that house I was telling you about, and it was a twin. And Philly has a lot of twins, and there was one driveway between two houses, and they had to share the driveway. So I was on my buddy's side, which didn't have a driveway. And so the neighbor that's connected to on the other side said, I saw how well you did. I want you to paint my house. So he was like 21 Springfield. She was like 19. And so I painted her house. And the woman followed me all the way around, that lived on the other side. This older woman followed me all around the house. And the second I got to her driveway, now I got a ladder in her driveway, she started the war. She sent the guy to beat me up. She went crazy and she lost her mind. And it was just this wild, it was mind blowing that I was the good guy until I got on her. Then I started getting in her way. So I've been through some crazy stuff with clients don't want you to leave, and they start causing problems at the end. They don't want to pay you. So I've been through that kind of stuff. But Manhattan was down and dirty. 50%
get in, get done, and get out.
Get in, get out. Got to be done. Then you have to fight the supers.
Oh man! So do you know Kieran? Is he up in Manhattan? I can't remember where he's at.
I never. Yeah, he's in Manhattan. I never met him personally, but he does exactly what I did, which is you have to run the insurance. A week before you go in, you have to go to the managing agent. Managing agents run the buildings.
Yeah, I met him for the first time when I was up visiting Robert Chicky up in Minnesota for Vero Metals. I was up there and he was there and Caesar was there. We were doing a little training session, and I was doing some video and stuff and shooting some content for the podcast. And like, he was a fun guy. Like Kieran was a really, like, if you ever get a chance to meet him, he's a fun guy to sit down. We sat at the airport for like 2 hours on the day we left. And
he's Irish, right?
Yes, he's Irish, and my side was hurting. I mean, that 2 hours at the airport, I was laughing so hard. He is cracking me up. Well, he's like, it's funny because I'm a Hokie, redneck, Texan, whatever you want to call it. I don't think I have an accent, but he just thought I had an accent, and most people say that. But you can tell that New York accent. I think anybody can pick it out, but his is like Irish New York accent.
Irish New York, yeah. How you doing, man? How you doing? Yeah. You got the eye. Cooney, is that your last name? Where are you from there, Cooney? County Mayo. Yeah, been back there lately?
Well, then I was like, I couldn't say his name for the first little bit. I was like, and he was just like, God damn it, get it right. But that was a lot of fun. He was a cool guy.
There's a lot of good guys there.
There is. So I got a question for you.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
This may or may not know, but as of, let's say the last 30 days, what you have any idea year to date how many bottles you've sold?
Yeah, well, my goal is this year is 50,000 bottles.
Okay.
So last year I sold, I think I sold around 25,000. Yeah, something like that.
So 50,000 is the goal. Do you know where you're at on your goal right now?
Yeah, I do. I'm not going to tell you though. I'm going to jinx me. I'm doing well.
Hey, that's all I want to hear is you're doing well.
I'm waiting on the UK guys really, they've helped me a big time. Canada slowed down a little bit with the tariffs. They took it a little personally. But my distributor Lancaster, they're getting ready to order again. So we'll see the size of their order. They usually order every 2 months. So this should be the big one. And so hopefully I'll hit my goal is 50,000 bottles this year. So we'll see. And it's which is, nothing compared to some other stuff. But I can remember when it took me a year to get rid of the first 1,000. So I've come a long way with this product.
A year to get rid of 1,000, and you're talking, I mean, let's just say 16. I mean, that was like 18, wasn't it? When you...
So the first year was 2018. I got the bottles, and the really first that year that I had it fully on the market was 2019. I was doing yoga, and this woman said, "You got to get on Instagram." And that was, remember the old logo? That was before Facebook bought it. It had a different logo, and I jumped on there, and I just started giving it away. And I think I sold like $7,000 worth the whole year. For the whole year, that was it. So it was a very humbling, but what keeps me going is I know how good the product is. I know how good it is. I know how good it degreases. So lately what I've been trying to do is really trying to bring it to other aspects of the market.
Yeah, I see a couple guys using it to clean a pump.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. So it's like I said, all you do is put a squirt in the bucket and add a gallon of water. You can run it right through any of the pumps, and it's phenomenal. So what it does, it re-wets the latex. So it's also a wallpaper stripper. So what I try to do now is get, because if you're going to spend $12 on that, right? You figure one good squirt to use is about $1.20. Might as well make a prep bucket, meaning the bucket in the beginning of the day. Throw your rags in, wring them out, put them around. I do the videos all the time. And you have something to clean before you paint. Cabinets, wall, soap scum, baseboards.
So paint will still adhere to it after it's fully dried.
So you can clean anything you want. You could probably just paint right over it, but I like to let it dry and hit it with a water-only rag. You could put it in a spray bottle. Phenomenal because it's a concentrate, and you can spray stuff down with it. And then as you're going, you can use it for the caulking. So big caulking days, you've got the pretty boy rags instead of using the bag rags. So you can really, really save a ton of money and time. So one squirt, $1, you go through the whole day. And then when you get to the end of the day, it's 4:00. You've got 5 of these. Smash them down in the bucket. Even if that water is dirty, let it soak 10 minutes. All the paint comes off, and all the stuff comes out of inside the ferrule. And now it's also got a hair conditioner. No product in the world has a hair conditioner. So that'll put a moisture barrier, and that's less likely next time you use it The paint will get caught up here, and each fiber will stay independent.
Yeah, you don't have those little
Yeah,
those two little sprays that stick out after washing it with lacquer thinner a couple times.
Well, when I was using dish soap in 2002, you would get the brush go. You hear the crunchy.
Yeah, it was crunchy.
But dish soap's not formulated for latex, and and I knew it, and I was like, well, so my chemist is great. He said, Brian, dish soap will take off some of the latex, take off about 60% of it, leave about 40%. And then it's going to add fat, wax, and lanolins, which you don't want. That's the curdling you'll see when you use it again. And it also has denatured alcohol in it. So Pretty Boy doesn't have that. So now on the opposite spectrum, guys are asking me to give them samples so they can give it to their clients after they paint the cabinets. So 6 months down the road, when they degrease, the paint is cured, they can clean with it. So it has a vast majority of and the wallpaper stuff, we all use diff. That stuff's flammable.
I hate that stuff. I used fabric softener, Downy fabric softener, 50-50 with water. But then you got to go to the store and buy it. But if you've already, that's just a multi-tool. You've got it in the truck for cleaning brushes. Just put it in a spray bottle and spray it on the walls.
Spray it on the walls, and it won't smoke the hardwood floors. If you use diff and it gets on the hardwood floors, it'll strip them. Won't strip your hands. I did a job with Dame one time, and I was like, let's do the bathroom together. And he wasn't sure about it yet. He was using it for the brushes and rollers, but he wasn't sure about the wallpaper. So he didn't listen, and he sprayed it down with the diff. And I remember walking in there and was like, oh my God, you got to have a mask. It was so toxic.
Just
slaps
you in the face.
And another thing that's cool about Pretty Boy is that it can make that leap to the mom cleaning up after the kids. It can make the leap for the fine artist. It can make that leap for the DIYer. And eventually what I'll do in 5 years from now, you could take the logo off of here and just put a face instead of a brush. And it's home, hardware, and auto. It's a super cleaner. And there's 25% surfactants. Nobody's ever had this in the world. Nobody's ever had this. And most of the stuff that you use as a dish soap, Mrs. Myers, Dawn, they're only 6% at the most. This is 4 times more concentrated. So when you wash your car with this stuff, bugs gone, everything's gone. And that hair conditioner is like, oh, it feels like people love the feel of it. So I just have to be patient.
Yeah. It'll come. And it is coming. It sounds like it's coming. That's awesome, though, man. I'm glad you're on your way to your goal. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I do have a question for you. It's a question I've started doing on every single podcast. And it's a fun one. A couple of them. But the main one is, Brian today's out to lunch, run into 19-year-old Brian. What's the one piece of advice you're going to give him?
There would be several. First off is put the alcohol and pot down. That stuff's just going to I wasted so much time with that stuff. Absolute waste of time. Take responsibility for your own life. Don't blame others.
That's a good one. Take your own responsibility.
I was blaming my dad and my mother's death. And find your passion. You have to find your path. And then find it. Go on it. Stay on it.
Stay on it. Don't give up. Yeah.
Don't ever give up.
This is one of those squirrels that I like to chase. So I started, who did I have? I had a guy named Jamie on, and he has New Age Artisans, a company called New Age Artisans. They make plasters. They're up in Minnesota. And he was in Dallas, and he came in to shoot an episode with me. And he does it to everybody he visits. And he brought me a 12-pack of a product called Athletic Brewing.
Yeah, the 0.05%.
Yeah, the 0.05% non-alcoholic beer. And that's been, 6 months ago. There's always a 12-pack in my fridge now.
Do you still drink the regular beer?
I bought some the other day, and I drank half of one imported out, and it's like, I'd rather have the Athletic Brewing.
Because you're on your path.
Yeah. And I just like, I mean, I don't need it. I mean, but the Athletic Brewing is just, it's refreshing. It gives you that flavor that, I mean,
it quenches the throat, and you're not there for the heavy buzz.
Yeah. I don't care about the buzz. I mean, it quenches the thirst, and it's something that's gotten really big, is the non-alcoholic stuff. And there's some amazing products out there now. I mean, my wife bought some
Heineken zero
alcoholic margaritas, and like, they were really good, and you don't have to be worried about drinking. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I can't tell you when the last time I had a drink was actual alcohol.
That is going to be, so when I got sober in 2014, and I haven't talked about it publicly. I've been on, but I think it's time to talk about it publicly. It took 2.5 years to get out of the fight or flight and start on my path. And you're never going to find it if you're getting high all day. If you're, we've all been on the job sites where the guys have the pen and they're stoned all day long.
My father-in-law tells me stories about when he was in the business, and he'd have painters that he would have to fire, especially one in particular story where they would just have acetone rags.
Oh God.
And just walk around with acetone rags all day and just sniff them, and then just be high as a guy in houses. And he was like, he had a homeowner call him like, something's wrong with this guy. And he was leaving to go on a trip at the airport. And he's like, I got to go. Push his trip back, send his wife and kids, my daughter, and went to the house. And guy was just walking around with an acetone rag, high as a guy. Full on junkie. I mean, and then I would say our industry has a bad rap of that. Painters in general have a bad rap of that. So changing that mindset is a really big deal. And,
there's a lot of sober painters now. There's a lot of sober painters. The biggest high you'll ever get is being on your path. I partied for 33 years, right? I started partying heavy at 16 after my mother died, and I got sober at 49. So 33 years, I partied through New Orleans and Chicago and Atlanta and Europe, and I rang the bell. I did it. I got drunk in Ireland. I had a blast. But when I got to the mid 40s, it was like a prize fighter, and I couldn't get up. And that path of who I want, and I failed a lot with these businesses. And I'm laying there, and I'm like, I was at the end of that life. That life, you have to let that stuff go. Some people can balance it. My father's 95, has a beautiful cordial every night, his Cavassier, and that's all he has. That's not me. I opened that bottle. I'm in.
It's going.
I'll go.
I'm no quitter.
I'm no quitter. I'm waking up 3 days later, So that's my advice to the painters out there. If you're not happy, don't know what you're doing, just give yourself a little break. Go to the gym, really, get that internal energy back up and start again. Because I love painters and they're my friends, and but a lot of them are just self-medicating, and there's no hope for self-medicating. It's just delay. You're circling the airport. You're not landing. So,
that's so true.
Help anybody, if anybody wants to talk about sobriety, please call me. I'd be happy.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And then final question. I feel like I might know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Like, I love to get the community knowing the people behind the brush, the people behind the equipment. Like, what's Brian when he's not growing Pretty Boy? Like, what's a passion that you have that's outside of painting? I mean, you seem pretty wrapped up.
I'm in a transition with that. It was music. I play guitar. I was taking voice lessons. It was golf, that kind of stuff. But right now I'm fully in, and I don't have any hobbies right now. I enjoy waking up in the morning and I have 15 messages, guys from England, and I'll leave messages, voice messages. And I'll put the phone up. Hey man, what's going on? So I'm really enjoying the journey of who I am and what's going on. And and be in the service of others. I'm in service of others. So if people need me, I'm there. So I'm in that transition. I want to get my guitar back, but yeah, there's a little bit. I'm just starting to enjoy the path. For so long, it was, am I going to make it? I mean, I'm 60. I just turned 60, and I'm on the road, and I have everything on 43 black, and I'm hoping I can get to the next. This is Stalingrad.
I love that.
This is the Battle of Stalingrad, and I'm right there. And now it's breaking. The product's going, and that's not giving up, as we said. But so to answer your question, I'm all in on the product, and I just kind of recover. Like I like to sit there and read a book or watch some YouTube and or watch a series or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I kind of figured.
I like UFC.
UFC? Okay. That's it. That's a good one. Awesome, man. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I want you to get your night back. I don't want to take too much of your time, but no problem. I appreciate you coming on. Awesome conversation. Thank you, sir. We need to maybe next time you're doing one of the Pretty Boy Paint Festival, maybe we do like a quick 30-minute episode and say hi to everyone there and shoot that out on social media so people can see it.
We could do that. Would be interesting how to do that. That could work. Yeah, we'll have to figure out if there could be an open mic where people could walk up to something.
I think we could figure something out. I mean, we could schedule it and do a live, and people could jump on and say stuff, and people can watch it. But yeah, we can talk about that offline and see if we can figure out a way. I think that'd be awesome.
We could film the competition. So this year we have the 2 doors, right, that I designed and Todd Hardy built, and they're 5-door knobs. So last year it got too many people going back and forth. And I ended up painting 4 times, and I had Chris and Dane as my partners. And Juan painting by Juan won with 2 local guys from Albany, Josh and Josh. So this year, if you lose the door competition, you're out. And then we're going to go into the spray competition, which will be, using new doors. They send us these. They're going to be there.
Oh man, I love
so
Chris. I was just talking to Chris the other day.
Oh yeah, Chris and Dan, wonderful. So they're going to be there. So we could go live with that. That would be cool to see people see that. And yeah, we'll talk offline. We'll figure out. We don't want it to be anything distracting, but we want it to be like somebody could walk up to it and say, "Hey Zach, what's happening?" and that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll work it out. And I appreciate you. And maybe in a couple of years from now, I'll get back on and see where I'm at and where I'm selling 500,000 bottles a year.
I mean, I'm already planning on end of the year. I'm gonna poke you and get you on at the end of the year to find out how far over that 50,000 bottle goal you went.
That'll get me up early in the morning.
There you go.
Put the number out there, like Wilt Chamberlain. Slept with 20,000 women. No, you did. But
it's out there.
Yeah,
hey, I mean, you gotta hold accountable for those goals, man. I want you to hit it. I want you to hit it and go over.
Hit it, quit it. They go on the next one. So, where are you at in Texas, by the way?
I'm in DFW. I'm actually in Fort Worth is where I'm at.
I lived in Fort Worth.
Yeah, we really like it over here. We like it a lot in Fort Worth.
Where are you at in Fort Worth? What area?
On the south side, we're actually in a little town called Burleson, just south of Fort Worth. So, yeah, I mean, I want to say I can drive a mile and I'm at Fort Worth city limit. So, I mean, it's essentially Fort Worth.
Does everybody know what Fort Worth is? Where the East ends and the West begins.
There you go. We're actually looking at moving over to Weatherford, but it's gotten too crazy over there. So now we're like trying to go south a little bit. We're looking for some land. I'm wanting like 30, 40 acres.
Good. That'll be great. You could do something cool painting wise on that as well.
Get some land, put a building, have some horses on there. We'll do an event and it'll be run a pattern on horses.
Paint festival there.
Yeah, do a Pretty Boy Paint Festival, and part of it will be running a pattern on a horse, and then you got to come back and brush a door out or something like that.
Yeah, I just met a guy that just opened a paint store up in Texas, Dallas area. God, I forgot his name.
A new Ben Moore dealer just opened up, which I was because Texas Paint has a lot up here, but Benjamin Moore just opened up a new dealer up here, and I can't remember the guy's name.
What's his name? I think you remind me.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I just saw it I was talking to one of the Ben Moore reps, and I saw it, and I was like, what the heck? But it was an area that Texas Paint had but gave up, and then they opened one up.
Yeah, that's the guy. I can't think of his name. I sent him some samples. I'm going blank right now. He's a real nice guy. I talked to him. He just he got married. He got married. Like, I think it's the same guy. He's got
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. Yeah,
same guy. Yeah. Well, I'll text it to you. So, but yeah, I love Dallas. That was a good little run, and I lived right beside TCU.
Okay, TCU's probably 20 minutes from me.
I was a manager of the Macaroni Grill on 30.
Macaroni Grill. God, my wife used to love this. She still says that's probably one of her favorite chain restaurants. They're all pretty much gone now.
Good job. Brinker International. That's all. You know why they're all in Texas? Because they say the Texans are the ones, they go out to dinner on average like 5 nights a week. And that's why all the test markets are there.
The amount of people that go out to eat in this town is absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy. It could be a Tuesday night and you're going to have a 45 to an hour wait. And there's so many people. They're saying DFW by 26 or 27, last I heard, is supposed to overtake Chicago in population.
Whoa. Wow. Well, the urban sprawl, you got Frisco and.
I mean, just the whole Metroplex. I think the Metroplex and everything right now is just like 9.8 million. So many people. I'm from Oklahoma. The entire state has 3.2 million people. And there's over
almost you want less people.
10 million just in DFW.
I live 10 million on an island.
Too many people for this redneck from Oklahoma.
I mean, when you do that first rush hour on that subway and you're sitting there and you've got to, and the first, and you don't know how to ride a subway, and the girl taps you on your backpack and goes, "Can you take your backpack off?" Oh, sorry. Because that's an extra person. And you got to put the backpack between your legs because
no.
That's how tight it is. That's Manhattan. So,
yeah, I'm out.
Well, I really, I didn't know you before this. So, but you're a special guy. I appreciate your time.
Well, I thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. We'll definitely stay in contact. You're an awesome guy. I can't wait to see everything that you guys are doing over there. If you guys aren't follow, like, subscribe, I'm going to have Brian's information all in the notes here. Go follow him. Story is amazing. Pretty Boy Products. We'll get the YouTube link in there so you can go check out that story.
45 days away. Buffalo.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.